And we are live. What's going on, everybody? It's good to see all five people that were waiting. Sorry about making you guys wait a little bit. Always got stuff going on. Um, yeah, it's good to see people here. So thank you all for coming in. Oh, I got to get the applause going on. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Maybe if someone could tell me if my audio is okay, that'd be great. Uh, but yeah, guys, welcome back. It is 2023. Wow. So 2 years this podcast has been going on, went through some fun times, some really good times, and, also some difficult times, I guess you could say. But thank you, Red Dog. I'm still here. I still, hope to make content, good content for all of you, quality content, I should say. So, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to those that have subscribed, guests that check out my video, and everyone else. Yeah, thanks. So I really appreciate it. So, yeah, I'm here. Like I said, I had meant to, yeah, and thanks to Juan Chaloa too. I had meant to make a video or a live earlier, but we all have things going on for New Year's, so it's just how things are. But yeah. So basically, what I wanted to do, what I was able to complete, was a community post. And let me go ahead and pull that up really quick because I have that saved here. Because honestly, I wanted to get, obviously, the audience and the subscribers what their thoughts were on where we could move from here, or what they really appreciated in terms of like what content they liked, whether if it was like interviews or if it was, the travel videos that I should make. And I should make something really clear, really quick. And that is that some of the travel videos that I post aren't extremely recent. So perhaps like the one that I posted a few days ago, that was actually from 2021. So a little bit of time ago that I had, well, it has been some time since, I've been there, but I just, I've been meaning to post this earlier. So I'll definitely explain that in the dates, right? In terms of like the description. So let me pull that up really quick because I was actually very satisfied with what people's answers were, and thank you to those that did answer and gave the feedback. And I saw there was like 15% interviews, which was good. I'm glad you guys have enjoyed those, and obviously with the travel videos and the movie reviews, I try to give my honest and unbiased opinion on the particular movies that I've watched, and I feel also are good for indigenous people as well, and those that identify as like reconnecting too. And then live streams in general, which I really enjoy. I like talking to you guys and just having like conversations. And then Native American and geopolitical issues, which I think I really enjoy a lot, just because of the fact that I've been to a few places around the world, and I feel like my knowledge of the world is somewhat okay. It's better than maybe the average person, right? So yeah, just want to say thank you guys for that. So yeah, indigenous and political issues, geopolitical issues, because to be honest with you, I don't feel that you really learn about too many indigenous or like native issues in the Americas, or what goes on in other countries south of the border, right? For example, like Peru. Obviously the protests, right, not really so much the protests, it was like a bunch of protesters like stormed in. It was more like an assault on the capital itself. In Brasilia, that is quite a big thing. It's been in the news for a while. But just other issues also as well, in terms of like the treatment of indigenous people, those in communities. And then yeah, so I should, yeah, I will discuss a little bit briefly in terms of like what are the goals and what are the plans moving forward, right? So pretty much the plan is to obviously continue to make better quality content for you guys, because that's what you all deserve. You're still here. The plan is to just spend more time, I think, obviously, making my videos, and not so much live streams, but just better content and better quality for what videos I produce in terms of like history, again, indigenous issues. I hope to make these videos longer in terms of like making 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, of course, a few minute videos are fine too, right? And then just yeah, adding in the future, hopefully some sort of like animation. I think it really goes well with particular videos and you're trying to prove a point. But that will be for the future, of course. Um, and then obviously, I still want to have interviews too. So I still have other people that I plan on bringing on that I hope to share with you all soon. Um, and then I do have some other projects that I'm working on, which I think I can flush out more within time, maybe within the next like couple of months. Um, and then obviously introducing there's you know I don't play games like too much, but there's some things that I would like to do with particular like computer games or something that would relate to indigenous history in a way, and I think it's a good way to for educational purposes. So that's part of the plan. And then yeah, I really don't want to elaborate too much on the projects because there's still a lot of brainstorming going on, but that's the plan, obviously, right? And then obviously more better videos and yeah, and travel videos when I can post them. Unfortunately, I will be a little bit busy the next week and a half, so I'll be back later, sometime next week, and I'll start making live streams more often from that point on. Um, and then yeah, go from there. So yeah, if anyone had any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. Right? Oh yeah, right. And then I do plan on making a Patreon sometime this year also. Um, I had wanted to make one much later when I had when the channel was a little bit how should I say, was growing more, and obviously the channel's growing now, but when there's more people that are aware of the channel. But I think I will make one because again, I like interacting with guests and friends, and I think it's not only a good way for the channel, but also a good way to interact with others too, and just sharing knowledge. But I won't get too much into what the Patreon and what that will be. So for some later time, I'll discuss it. So anyone had any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Why is my paternal lineage all Spanish male? It's a good question. You might want to check your genealogical records, or you could go talk to Juan. But yeah, that's pretty much the major part that I wanted to get and cover in this section of the live, right? Of course, I wanted to go over some indigenous native issues that are going on, or just some other geopolitical issues that are happening in the Americas right now. But first, I think I wanted to discuss this particular piece here with this actor named Edward Norton, right? He's a direct descendant of like Pocahontas. And I don't know what people's views were on this, but to me, I don't feel that it's really that relevant because I don't know. This is, again, it kind of goes back to what this channel has preached, right? For quite some time, which is that like, if you are if you have some ancestor from, I don't know, 200, 300 years ago, I personally don't find it too important. I mean, let me take that back. If you're in a community, right, then of course that matters because there's people there. But if you're not in a community, all like this with Ben, right, or Edward, sorry, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of irrelevant, I think. But the media has been pushing this for quite some time, for the past week. Certainly, I'm sure he's going about it in a respectful way, but just in my opinion, it doesn't really matter too much. Plus, they don't even, I don't think they used her actual name. So yeah, going back to like, what do we call them? The having the Great Cherokee Princess, right? I mean, at the end of the day, many Americans that aren't native, like whatsoever, like biologically, for the most part, have some distant ancestor, right? So I just don't find what his discovery was that special. Yeah, exactly. Behold, the Great Cherokee Princess. when you have so many other people that are native, but they really aren't recognized, right? Despite like the biological evidence, right? Unfortunately, for people in the US and many people in the Americas, you're, how should I say, people run by if you're native or not politically, in terms of like if you're part of a community, right? But if you remove, I don't want to say remove it, but if you add another lens to that, being like, oh, but there's many native people there in the Americas, and it's not such a minority. Again, this is something that the channel has pushed, and I'll still continue to hold those points within this year and then forever until the channel is gone, which I don't intend it to be. So, anyone else have any questions yet? Let me see. I think, who's Cupcake? Yeah. So do you still have indigenous Yucatan? Your indigenous DNA stay the same? Yeah. So unfortunately, with my, I should post it actually. With my recent change in my ancestry DNA test, there's no more Yucatan DNA anymore. So it's actually just 66% native ancestry from Peru and Bolivia. So those are my results. I mean, I could very well still have DNA from there, from the Yucatan area, but Ancestry DNA said no. So it's the answer. But it's all right. I see we have some trolls in here. So let's go over a few other things I wanted to cover before we sign off, because again, I didn't want to make this live too long, right? So the first thing was what's going on in the NFL right now. And it's nothing too big, right? But I found it somewhat monumental, and I'll go ahead and share it right here. So, NFL spotlights Chicana Native American artist Lucinda La Morena, I'm going to butcher that, Hinos, for Super Bowl 43, 45 or 6. I got to familiarize myself with Roman numerals. So the NFL has partnered with artist Lucinda La Morena Yos, and the first Chicana Native American artist to work with the league on Super Bowl theme art. So she will be the marquee artist of Super Bowl, of the upcoming Super Bowl. So designing an elaborate, deeply meaningful piece that will be featured on an array of design activations for the upcoming Super Bowl in Arizona, including Super Bowl tickets, out-of-home displays, and more. So I think that this is a really good direction in terms of what the media is going for, which they are recognizing that there are like Chicanas that are Native American descent. Because for quite some time, I don't think the media has really went this direction, or the mainstream media, especially not the NFL, right? So I think this is really good in terms of what the channel supports, right? And what many other people that hold these indigenous spotlights or native reconnecting spotlights in Instagram, TikTok, or other people in the US that are supporting this. So yeah, this was really good news. I think, it says here that her family had close ties to the community of Arizona. She embodies the spirit and the history of the city. And as a Chicana Native American artist with multicultural roots from Mexico, the Pasca Yaqui and Chiricoa Apache, and then White Mountain Apache and Pima tribes, she uses her unique identity and experience to design an intricate, emblematic piece of art that the NFL will proudly display throughout the Super Bowl. So I thought that was pretty good news. My Spanish is gone. Yeah, I could work on my Spanish pronunciations better, definitely. But yeah, so what else did I want to share? Obviously, what else is going on is, with the Brazil riot, right? And I think it's, I don't want to say like, well, no one died from this, but it's odd how these protesters are trying to copy what happened in the United States not too long ago with storming of the U.S. Capitol. And I don't know what will be the outcome, because I think it appears that the results was where Bolsonaro lost, but it was very close, right? So you have quite a lot of people that just simply are not agreeing with what happened. And I think there were thousands of people at this Capitol in Brasilia, right? Um, but I am thankful that there's someone in charge now. It's not Bolsonaro, right? Because I've went over previous information of Bolsonaro and his videos, the videos that I made about him, and his track record for indigenous life, just in general, was not great, and he cared very little for the Amazon rainforest. So, yeah, it's good that he's gone, and I have high expectations for what the current president of Brazil will do. So I guess Thomas. Well, let me take this off really quick. Sorry. Just going to read a few comments before we move into the other article. Just use the Southwest Mexico in terms of indigenous links. Yeah, it was really nice to see. Coincidence or not, first it was Peru and then later it's Brazil. Yeah, right. It's a problem that goes on with South America, because when you have a lot of corruption in your country, you're just going to have a lot of unhappy people. And I think that with how should I say, the current lives of people now living in like the 21st century, it's easier to come together, right, and voice your grievances. And unfortunately, when you live in a country with a lot of corruption, it's very easy for such protests to get hostile, right? But with Peru, for example, I can understand why there's a lot of problems with aggression and why people are angry, because the things that have been going on in these countries that haven't been working in terms of how the political stability has been happening. So then the other article I would like to share has to do with obviously what's going on in Peru, right? And I know that we had a long discussion about this with more. And let me go ahead and share that too. And at this point, it is very sad, because now, the death toll in Peru has risen to 47. The violence is, becoming more rampant. And I believe the recent attacks and deaths happened in a very indigenous city called Ayacucho. But I'll just read this. A young medical student in his work uniform, desperate, his family said, to help injured protesters. A 22-year-old man had finally saved up enough to study mechanics. An ice cream vendor returning home after a long day's work. None took part in the demonstrations that have consumed Peru for a month, but all were killed in southern Peru on Monday. Casualties in what became the deadliest day of clashes between protesters and government forces since the country erupted in violence last month. So in a matter of hours, at least 17 civilians and one police officer were killed in the chaos in the demonstrations, according to the country's ombudsman office, an extraordinary spasm of violence that complicated the new president's attempt to stabilize the country. So again, unfortunately, with Peru, it's hard to find a solution. And I think you'll find videos as to why certain countries are the reason why they are this way. Sorry, and that is because it goes back to history of colonialism, right? Having dictatorships in your countries, such as what happened in Chile. It's gone on in Peru and all over South America, and it just feels like it's quite hard to see a very successful future without dramatic changes. So I really hope the best for these countries. Obviously with Peru, because I was born there. Bolsonaro is gone. Good riddance. First Bolivia, Peru, then Brazil, and the colonial neoliberals and right-wing fear and hate leftists. Yeah, especially indigenous movements. It's sad. So that was pretty much what I wanted to cover in terms of like the articles on the news. Obviously, I'll have more content in the future. So if anyone didn't have any questions, I'll probably finish this video up. I'm glad I got to half hour and was able to explain, what the plan is for the rest of the year, or especially the upcoming months. So yeah, I'll take any questions if anyone had any, but I'll probably sign out here in a minute or two. I always appreciate the different music they have in here. For those that are like curious, I use StreamYard, right? So I think it's a very useful software program. Okay, so it's like been 29 minutes almost. Yeah, yeah, it's hard. It's really difficult too because unfortunately, YouTube, I think, has taken drastic measures in terms of trying to remove, comments that they find very harmful to a lot of like individuals out there and groups of people. So they, yeah, taken very drastic measures to change that, and unfortunately, you cannot see particular comments. But I try to change the settings to where anyone can comment. So um, if anyone ever has any issues with that, please just tell me, because I think sometimes people get the mistake that I'm the one deleting like comments, right? But no, it's usually YouTube that won't let you post some for some weird reason. So yeah, I think, yeah, it has been a half hour, and yeah, I can't stand guidelines either. So yeah, guys, thank you for coming on. Again, this stream was kind of late to post, but I look forward to making more content for you all. And yeah, that's going to be a wrap for now. So I will see you guys all soon. Adios.